Now, if Blair White is known for one thing in lefty communities, it's being a liar. Basically, every single video I've ever covered from Blair White actively has misrepresentations or outright lies in regards to whatever topic she's talking about. The most recent thing she got in really hot water for, in fact, it was so bad, it made her go from having 1 million subs down to 943,000. That's how bad it was. That's how egregious it was. But that's not the only time she's ever lied. Blair White has lied numerous times on this channel. I've actually thought about doing a video in which I, off stream, prepare a document of all the times she has outright just lied to her audience and just go over all of them. But the one with Janae Marie Kroc was the one that got her in a lot of trouble. But I want to preface this by saying that Blair White does love lying in her videos. So we may have to do a little bit of our own research while we're watching this one. So the video we're responding to today is Forced Transition, the dark truth about famous trans kids. So for those of you guys that somehow aren't aware of Blair White, despite the fact she has nearly 1 million subs, not 1 million anymore, nearly now. We're actually not even that close. You know, she's well over 50,000 subs away from 1 million now. She really got hit badly by that drama. That was a tough scene for her. But if you don't know who Blair White is, she is a trans woman who is a conservative, and most of her content focuses on shitting on trans people she doesn't like. That's the vast majority of her content. It's a pretty well-known fact that, yeah, she's a whole my channel away from 1 million subs now. Her main focus seems to be, from what I'm aware of with Blair White, that she wants to make the trans community look good by shitting on trans people that act in ways that most people would find distasteful, whether it just being kind of cringy and making cute, innocent TikToks that kind of make you go, that's kind of cringy, right? Painting it as though every trans person who isn't her is like a predator, painting it as though trans women, particularly trans women, she doesn't really go after trans dudes because, well, most transphobes forget that trans dudes exist. Painting it as though trans women who don't pass as well are bad people or fake trans or whatever, trying to paint it as though there's like this massive epidemic of trans trenders, like trans people that aren't actually trans and they're pretending to be. She also likes to say that there are like kids being groomed into being trans, which there's nearly 8 billion people on this planet. I have no doubt that that's happened, but there's certainly not an epidemic of this happening. So before we even get into this video, I'm going to throw out my prediction of what this video is going to be. What I think this video is going to be is her taking a couple stories that, granted, might not even be true because of how much Blair White likes to lie about these things. We all know that because of what happened with Janae Marie Kroc. She cannot do the tiniest bit of research. And if she does, then she'll just exclude the parts of the research that debunk her conclusion and go on with that, right? She's going to show a few cases in which this has happened and then try to paint it as though there's this big epidemic. Even if she doesn't outright say it, she will imply it strongly that there's this epidemic of kids being forced by their parents or whatever to be transgender. So, let's watch the video.
I tell everyone if you're a boy or a girl?
Okay. Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl and she prefers she and her pronouns.
I've done too much in this world. It's ruined my life.
So, oh god, I really don't like Blair White's intro. I really, really don't like it. Okay. We'll go over what's happened here to start with.
I tell everyone if you're a boy or a girl?
So, it seems like what's happening here is the parent and the kid and all these people are at some kind of conference or something along those lines, and the mom, I assume, has their kid and asks, do you want to tell everyone if you're a boy or a girl? And the kid is like, and kind of like turns around and kind of like goes to his mom or her. We don't know really. Their mom. And we don't. That's all we have here. It's very possible the kid's trans. As a matter of fact, it seems like most trans people I've met kind of know that there's something different about them at a very young age. it's usually like around this age they start to realize that there's something going on. And why not, right? I mean, think about it like this. A lot of people like to say that a kid can't know if they're gay or not, and yet we accept it if they're straight. How young were many of you when you had your first crush in school? And I'm talking about straight people in chat. If you are a straight person and you're in chat, how young were you when you had your first little crush in school? That's basically you discovering whether or not you're straight or gay, right? 5. I mean, for me, it was like I was probably 5 or 6. I think I was in pre-K. How old would I have been in pre-K? I can't remember. Very young. Most kids figure out like who they're into when they're pretty young because they have like their little fucking crush or whatever, right? Yet whenever you hear about this with like gay kids, people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're too young to know whether or not you're gay. But no one ever says this about being straight. And the reason for that is because generally society views being straight as normal, so it's okay if a kid thinks they're straight, and gay as being weird and wrong and bad. So you have to be a certain age to know if you're gay, or, I mean, if you go far enough, some people think being gay is a choice, so, you know. But with this case here, it just seems like the kid's probably nervous up in front of like a bunch of people up on the stage talking into a microphone. I don't feel like this is a good example of like a parent forcing transness on their kid. It just doesn't seem like a good example.
Okay. Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl and she prefers she and her pronouns.
I've done too much in this world. It's ruined my life.
And then we have like an out of context clip of this kid referring to something, saying, I've done too much in this world, it's ruined my life. With no context whatsoever, and then Blair White's extremely obnoxious intro.
Ruined my life.
Hey guys, welcome back to my main channel. So I'm definitely feeling very under the weather today. So if my voice does anything weird, her throat is sore. She's definitely going through it, but she's also pushing through it to film this video. So I just watched this movie called Transhood on HBO. Now this movie has social media in an uproar, upset, outraged, because they think that this movie contains children being forced to transition. And basically the movie chronicles 5 different transgender children at different ages. One of them is 4.
What's wrong with a transgender kid being 4 years old? Echo? I can't fix the echo, guys. It's literally just my sound or my capture card. There's nothing I can do about it other than mute my microphone every single time that I play the video. There's literally nothing I can do. So I'll start muting my microphone. But what is wrong with being 4 years old and transitioning? Being transgender? Well, for those of you who are new and don't really know a lot about this, I'm going to explain some stuff for you. There's 2 different kinds of transitioning. If you know a trans person, or if you are trans, then you'll know this as well. There's social transitioning and there's physical transitioning as well. So social transitioning, everything that's contained within social transitioning is completely reversible. There's literally no negative effects whatsoever. This is things like going by different pronouns, dressing differently, behaving differently, being referred to in a different way. It's basically, in terms of your social life, identifying as a different gender. And then there is biological transitioning. This is doing things like taking hormones or getting surgeries or things like that, right? Basically hormone surgeries and what have you. These things are typically not as reversible, and it's understandable that you probably don't want a 4-year-old to engage in like the biological, like the surgeries, the medical transitioning, one might say. But when it comes to social stuff, if your kid thinks they're transgender, or you think your kid is transgender, and you have reasonable suspicions of that, there's really no harm if your kid comes up to you and says, I think I'm a girl, letting your kid go by she, her pronouns, calling them by a different name for a while, letting them play in a dress or whatever, buying them Barbies instead of monster trucks if that's what they want. There's literally no harm in this whatsoever. That I've yet to hear a single argument that is backed up by any data or science that letting your kids socially transition if they think they're trans is bad. It doesn't exist. There is no valid argument for this. It just doesn't exist. There's no harm in it. I actually want to see What is this story? What is this documentary called? Trans Youth. Is that the name of it? I'm gonna go ahead. I want to read a we'll read a, what is IndieWire? I've never actually heard of IndieWire. What's their deal? This is the first article that came up that wasn't from HBO. Why can't they biologically change when they're a child? It's probably just not a good idea. As long as you get them on hormone blockers before they go through puberty, so that they don't like undergo the wrong puberty if they do end up being trans, then there's really no harm in not allowing a child, like we're talking like 4, 5, 6 years old, to undergo like hormonal therapy and surgeries. There's no reason to do that. Like, there's no harm in putting it off generally, but there can be a lot of harm if they're wrong. And that's what science seems to back up, right? It's not good to let kids, like children, go through medical transition. The first anything related to medical transition that they should go through is around puberty age, when they get on puberty blockers, if it's, you know, recommended by a medical professional. What is IndieWire? Let's see. Media bias fact check. If it's like somewhere in the center or something, then we'll be okay. Well, for some reason, IndieWire isn't even on here. All right. We'll read the article anyway. See if we find any turfy language in it. Transhood review. Tender documentary about trans kids tugs the heartstrings. Set in Kansas City, this sleek film follows our 4 trans kids over 5 years, avoiding the usual pitfalls to focus on their humanity. A year and a half after Laverne Cox became the first transgender person to grace the cover of Time magazine, National Geographic followed suit with its own explosive issue. For its 2016 cover story, The Gender Revolution, National Geographic's Robin Hammond photographed 89-year-olds in 8 countries. Poised gracefully on the cover was 9-year-old Avery Jackson, staring serenely into the camera, her bright pink hair and outfit striking a vivid compliment to the magazine's iconic yellow border. Jackson is one of 4 transgender kids profiled in Transhood, a tender-hearted documentary that humanizes trans kids, avoiding many of the usual gawking pitfalls. Following a timeline when trans rights have been consistently under attack, Transhood is a vital record of what it's like to grow up trans in the Trump era. Okay, so it's like an overwhelmingly positive movie, it seems like. From what I'm getting here, it seems like it's a pretty good movie. Trans folk and trans this is why Jay and his mom race are an excellent addition to the story. So it's like a trans dude, I guess. Story takes so many years when Bryce falls in love with Lady, a long-haired butch who plays in Owen's football league. Yeah, okay. I'm not saying any problems with this movie whatsoever. All right, let's see what Blair White has to say about it. It seems like it's a pretty pro-trans movie, just a documentary about trans kids. I see no problem with it so far.
That story was one of the worst. And then it chronicles also a teenage trans girl named Lena. And I want to start off by saying that not every of the 5 trans stories in this movie were abusive or crazy or scary. Like, I actually have written in my notes here, loved Lena because her story was amazing.
I don't think the movie depicted any child abuse from the sound of it. From what we read there, it doesn't seem like there was any child abuse taking place. Do you think if this movie depicted actual child abuse, that would be met with positive reception by general media the way it did? How much do you want to bet the only reason why Blair White liked her is because she's like a pretty well-passing older trans woman? How much do you want to bet that's the reason?
Showed her going on like modeling casting calls. They showed her finding love and breaking up with someone. Like, her story was very relatable and normal, and I loved it. But the very young children in this movie in particular, there was Avery and Phoenix that I really want to talk about because
what's wrong with it?
Oh my god, it was some really disturbing footage and scenes when it came to these young ones. And I honestly do believe that in these 2 children's cases in particular, they are being pushed to do things that they don't want to do by the parents who want them to be trans. And I'm going to go into why and show you guys some clips and all that. So I'm going to start off with Avery. Now, Avery is a very well-known trans kid. She was on the cover of National Geographic, I believe it was, has risen to notoriety for being a trans kid. And
Yeah, I know of this kid. Every single conservative under the sun likes to point to this kid. Even though this kid does not seem to be demonstrating any regret or anything, she seems completely fine with her identity. She hasn't taken any hormones, as far as I'm aware. She seems to be not the age that you would go on hormones. If she continues to be where she is up until around when she would be going through puberty, then put her on puberty blockers. Once she's at an age where it's appropriate for her to take hormones, get her on that shit. What's the problem? Do you have any issue with this?
This story really, really disturbed me. It was very apparent to me, and in my opinion, the mother in this film was pushing Avery to, at the very least, be trans, at the very most, be trans, and make a business out of it to make money for herself, for the mother. Every single scene in this movie was some sort of business transaction, was a photo shoot for the kid, was an interview, was a radio appearance, was her being forced to sell a book, going to events.
Forced to sell a book. Do you have any evidence that the kid doesn't want to do any of these things? Listen, I'm gonna be honest. If when I was this kid's age, I wanted to do like, I was like popular and did photo shoots and fucking book deals, I would be fucking thrilled. Personally, that's fucking pog, in my opinion. However, I will say, if it does turn out that this kid doesn't want to do those things, then yeah, it's probably bad the kid's doing those things. But since when does Blair have a problem with making money? Well, they are a kid. I think that's pretty shitty. If the kid doesn't want to do it, like do the book deals, the the photo shoots and whatnot, then that's bad. I don't like what the kid's doing. But since when does Blair have a problem with it? Especially if the kid's fine with it. Like, what's the problem?
And at one point, Avery actually says, "This is ruining my life."
We're going to Washington, D.C. We actually go and meet with our senators and representatives. After we do that, we go and sit and sell some of Avery's books for a little while.
I just don't want to even have a book. I've done too much in this world. It's ruined my life enough, and now everyone in this world is going to know. And it's just going to make my life worse.
A couple years.
Let's see if Blair is deceptively editing this or not. Let's see. National Geographic cover. Let's see. It didn't take long for 2 public reactions. I hate these fucking news sites that make you pay. Betting $5,000 she's lying? Why does Blair have to be the fucking gatekeeper of gender? I don't know. Xander Hall, Blair paid to have problems with things. Blair is paid to have problems with things. She shouldn't have problems with this as well as to burn the bridge. Yeah, I know. She's a money wanter, okay? Let's see. Ah, fuck. I wish I could find... Do I have an HBO Now sub? You know what I'm going to do, chat? I'm going to keep the I'm going to turn off my audio. And I'm going to keep the camera... like this, I'm gonna watch the scene from the documentary right now. I have an HBO Now subscription. I can watch it right now, I think. Unless it's like region locked of some kind. I should be able to watch the documentary right now. Yep, my sub is still active. It seems like. Transhood, right there. I'm turning off the audio for my desktop. All right, I'm gonna skip through it till I find the scene that Blair's talking about. All right, here's Avery. Wait. Oh, my sounds. Oh, I gotta mute my audio. So the first thing we see with Avery is the mom says, "Hey, come here, I got something to show you." The kid gets up, runs excitedly to the room, sees her on the National Geographic article, and says, "What do you think of this?" And she says, "Amazing." So that's what we've seen so far. She seems pretty positive about it right now. I'm actually watching the documentary right now. Why do you have to mute your audio? Copyright. So now she's hugging her mom. She read the quote that was on the front saying the best thing about being a girl is I don't have to pretend to be a boy. And then she got really happy, and now she's like smiling and hugging her mom. So looks pretty positive so far. I'm gonna mute the show so that I can talk while I'm looking for it, so you guys can't hear it through my headset because for some reason my sound card does that. Is this the scene? I can't find it. It's like I'm looking for the scene. It's only 44. It's like an hour and a half long, so it's not very long. Everything I've seen from Avery so far though has been pretty positive. The kid seems pretty damn happy. Okay, here, I want to watch this scene. Give me a... So I'm watching the scene right now. I'm watching the part that came before the part Blair showed. How much do you want to bet was happening leading up into that scene? They're all sitting at the table, and they're talking about the National Geographic cover. And they're talking about the harassment their family has faced because of it from transphobes. Then the mom brings up that they got an email or a text or whatever from Avery's grandparents saying she's not a girl, or, you know, misgender. She's not a girl. She wants to go back to being a boy. Stop with this magazine cover shit. We don't like it. Transgender people, blah, blah, blah. Like transphobic shit. That is the start of the scene. And the kid looks upset that her grandparents would say that. So I'm going to continue with the scene and see where it goes from there. Oh, copyright music. All right, I'm gonna skim it more to find the rest of the scene because that's all I saw there. Maybe it's like cut to a different part of the movie. God, I wish Blair would actually like cite her videos and leave a timestamp. From what I saw there, it seems like the reason the kid's upset because I saw what leads up into that scene. Oh wait, is this it? I think I found it. I think I found it. All right, give me a second, chat. So I watched the rest of the scene, as well as the scene it's interspliced with. So there's a reason why Blair cut it, because she's dishonest. So the two scenes, the one with the kid, the Avery, and then the trans boy are pretty close to each other. And in the one with the trans boy, basically, they're talking about how he gets like bullied by other kids, and even the parents of other kids who like tell their kids not to hang out with him because he's trans, and then goes on to show the scene from Avery, the girl that Blair's referencing here in her video, talking about like the harassment she gets and dealing with like the family and stuff. She is literally deceptively editing this video from this clip. It is actually so egregious, and you know what? It's sad because I know she's never going to be put to task for it because Blair is a bit more sneaky now, and most people aren't going to go actually watch the documentary that she's referencing here. What a fucking liar, dude.
Years ago, you wanted people to know.
Yeah, I
now-
did, but now that was really stupid, silly mistake, and now I don't.
Now the mom,
I wonder if Blair's going to acknowledge the reason why she's talking about that. It's because they were literally getting messages from family members that are transphobic, from haters getting harassment, from people that are honestly most likely like fans of Blair White, ironically. She's not going to acknowledge it. The reason why the kid was upset is because of the harassment that she and her family have been getting from transphobes. They also reference in a little bit, they show another scene of her and her reaction to Trump getting elected and how scared she is for her, like, her future having someone as transphobic and awful as Trump in office. So, yeah, very honest of you, Blair. Very honest clipping.
was a really shady character in my opinion, because even after this young child is expressing, you are ruining my life by putting me out there so much, you know, I don't want to be this person, the mother still takes her to events after that scene and is still doing stuff in the public and doing exactly what this child said she doesn't want to do. It was very apparent to me that the mother has
The kid goes back and says that she wants to continue doing this stuff because she knows it's going to help bring about positive change in the world, but that she's upset that her career... Blair will never mention this. She'll never mention this. She'll never mention the reason why the kid was upset was because of the transphobic harassment that she's been getting, being in the spotlight. She'll never mention that because Blair contributes to that harassment and that transphobia that someone like Avery gets in the spotlight. Blair White's video here is going to contribute to that. That's all this video is going to do. Blair is part of the problem. Her audience, the people she makes her content for, are part of the fucking problem. She'll never say that. It's just going to be her saying, oh, the kid is upset, doesn't want to be in the spotlight, doesn't enjoy being a public figure, while never saying the reason why. Or bring up the fact that literally the kid was getting like transphobic harassment from her family, from her grandparents and stuff like that.
has made her child being transgender her entire life, her entire business. The mom makes a living off of it, and it is basically the mom's, it's the mom's whole thing. She has monetized her child being transgender, which honestly, you know, I'm probably gonna get heat for this, but it was
Blair has no problem with monetizing being transgender. Everybody knows that. Everybody thinks that. If Blair actually had a problem with this, she wouldn't be making videos about trans kid pageants or fucking trans drag show, whatever the fuck. She wouldn't have a problem with that. That's all she ever talks about. She'd have problems with shit like Honey Boo Boo and all that kind of shit. Because trust me, there are way more cis kids doing beauty pageants, cis girls doing beauty pageants like the fucking Honey Boo Boo shit, Way more of that than there are trans kids doing beauty pageants and like drag performances and stuff like that. Way more of that. She'd be making videos about that kind of shit instead if she had a real problem with it. But she doesn't. She really doesn't. It's like when conservatives complain about like how the left is grooming children into being trans or whatever the fuck, like with the cuties thing, saying this is because of the left, when literally Republicans have been trying to fight against the illegalization, whatever, of child marriage in red states for decades. For decades, Democrats have been trying to push to make child marriage illegal, and Republicans, and just Republicans, have been fighting against making it illegal for decades. Never forget that.
Was very questionable to me if Avery really felt trans, because there were really no scenes in the movie where Avery was speaking for herself and describing the experience of being trans. Throughout the movie, Avery talks about just wanting to
lie. This is a complete lie. Several times in the movie, from what I watched just there on stream, she talks about how she wants to live her life as a girl and not face harassment and deal with transphobes, how she's been ostracized by her transphobic family members, besides like her mom and dad, how she is treated at school and stuff like that, how she's treated by the public. They show scenes of other kids having to deal with the same shit. Literally no point in this movie does the kid insinuate that she doesn't like being trans or that she doesn't feel like a girl. No point in the movie. Not a single point in the movie from what I saw there does that happen. And I skimmed through the little, like, you know how when like you skim through a movie or whatever, it shows like a little box showing whatever scene you're on. I watched every scene that popped up with Avery in it, and at no point does that happen. Not a single one. Blair is extrapolating this from absolutely nothing.
To be normal. Doesn't mean that she's not going to be transgender later on as well, but it was very interesting because in the movie the mom was like, oh yeah, she's a tomboy, she likes boy things. If you think that's weird, well, why do you think tomboys are weird? And tomboys aren't weird, but it is a hallmark, not a deciding factor, of a transgender child that when they're young they like playing with girl stuff. And short of this mom dyeing the kid's hair pink and dressing her in all pink, which seems very forced to overcompensate for the fact that she likes doing all boy things, it just...
Also watch that scene. She doesn't say she just likes doing boy things. She says that she has some interests that are like more so, like being like tomboyish. That has nothing to do whatsoever with not being trans or actually being a boy. Listen, all power to you if in like 5 years it turns out the kid actually isn't trans, but there is literally no harm done in this situation whatsoever. And if you want to avoid the harm that the kid can face, it's literally, you want to fight against transphobia so the kid doesn't have to deal with transphobic harassment. Because if there is anything that's going to harm this child down the road, it's going to be the transphobic harassment that she's facing, being like a public figure. That's literally all it. Also, no, there are plenty of girls that play with, like, cis girls and whatnot, that play with boys' toys sometimes.
Came across as weird to me. That was my honest opinion from the film. In my notes, I wrote, struck me as a business venture, Avery being trans. I wrote the word suspicious. I wrote, Avery seems unhappy doing book interviews. Mom seems very happy doing interviews and books. And all that is something that I don't like about a lot of mothers of famous trans children, is that it feels like it's more about the mom and the mom receiving accolades for being such an amazing, accepting, loving mother and making money than it is about the child. Even if it's not the mother forcing the child to identify as transgender, it's the mother forcing the child to be.
Listen, all I have to say about this is that this is literally the pot calling the kettle black here. That's all that is all that is happening right now. Blair has monetized her being trans and used it as a shield against accusations of transphobia from the left, while using it as a way of becoming sort of a tokenized transphobic trans woman for the right. For like, God, how long has she been going on this whole grift thing? I want to see, how far back do her videos go? I know she's been around for a long time, but I actually want to see, sort by oldest. 5 years, half a decade she's been doing this, okay? Half a decade she's been doing the same thing, except she's an adult, I guess, so it's okay.
Be a starlet and out there in a public figure, and that to me is wrong. If your child doesn't want to do something like that, you cannot make them. Next we have 4-year-old Phoenix. Now this one,
For the record, I generally don't agree with kids being celebrities. If I'm being honest, I don't think kids actually should be celebrities. That is my genuine opinion. The only issue that I take with this is like, so it's kind of like it's sort of like a win-lose kind of situation with this, where on one hand, you have young trans people being in the spotlight and helping normalize trans people existing. But at the same time, they're kids and probably shouldn't be celebrities in the first place. I do respect what they're trying to do in normalizing it, but also there are very few stories of kids becoming like celebrities of any kind, whether it be actors, musicians, and it not fucking with them, okay? Kids generally can't handle the spotlight. It typically doesn't work out well, historically. That's the part I disagree with. The problem is Blair's intentions with taking issue with this are malicious all around. We all know Blair's history. We all know why she takes issue with this. In no way is this like a positive thing. Holy shit, Murder of Cross. Thank you for the 12 Tier 1 gifted subs. It is very kind of you, my friend. Holy shit. Thank you.
Made me cry during the movie. I was watching this with Joey and I was like trying to hide my tears. I was like, oh my God, this poor little kid. His parents basically chalked him up at 4 years old to being transgender because he liked occasionally playing with girls' toys and wearing dresses. Now, again, while that can be a telltale sign, that is not everything.
Blair's already lied about this. I don't feel like watching the entire thing on stream. I can't really do that. I would literally just be sitting here silently watching the movie, like completely silently. If I stream this on like DLive or something, maybe that would work. That would be interesting. But I'm going to guess, based on how deceptively Blair edited that one scene that I literally brought the documentary up on HBO Now and watched just now, how deceptively she edited that. She excluded any of the... she purposefully did this, by the way. She does this all the time. Purposefully excluded the harassment she was getting from her family. Purposefully excluded the fact that she was getting transphobic harassment, and that's why she didn't like that. I'm going to assume she's lying about this as well.
You could just tell it was a little boy being imaginative, but the parents were so dead set on him being trans, and in fact also thought that their other son was transgender because the other son would sometimes want to play with girls' toys as well. They took Phoenix to protests, again making the trans thing their whole identity and their whole hobby basically, and the protests scared.
Hot take, as long as the kid is fine going to a protest, it's fine. If the protest is safe, it's okay. I've been to protests when I was a kid. My grandma took my mom to protests when she was a kid. That is a face. That is definitely a face she's making in this this pause screen right here. If the kid is like not wanting to go to the protests, it's you know, it's whatever. Don't bring the kid to protests if they don't want to go. But like, Blair is extremely dishonest, so I don't know if I trust her word on this one.
Scared Phoenix, which was really upsetting to see. Like, why are you taking your 4-year-old to a protest? Like, don't even do that. There was a moment where the mom, who seemed very paranoid and unstable, by the way, took Phoenix at 4 years old to a church and tried to make Phoenix come out as LGBT in front of everyone.
Anyone here who would claim their identity publicly as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, pansexual, asexual, or any category that I've left out.
Well, that's pretty wholesome. It's a pro-gay church. It seems like what's happening here is it's like a, listen, I hate religion, personally. I'm a agnostic type. I don't really, like, care about it. I don't know. There's really nothing that would, like, listen, let's say God does exist. Nothing changes if I believe in God's existence or any type of thing like that. Religion doesn't appeal to me whatsoever, but you know, if believing in God or whatever makes you feel good, then it makes you feel good. I respect your beliefs as long as you're not hurting other people with your religion. This seems like it's more of like a kid group being like, hey, we're religious, but yeah. Also, yeah, the mom does seem kind of weird. I'll give it that. The mom does seem like a bit of a Karen, but like, I don't really see a problem with like being accepting if you think your kid is trans. If the kid turns out to not be trans, they're not putting the kid's not on hormone blockers, the kid's not on hormones, the kid's not going through any medical transition, just seems to be socially transitioned. This is easy to come back from if anything ends up going wrong and the kid isn't actually trans, but you know.
Looks like a little
shy. Do you want to tell everyone if you're a boy or a girl?
Okay. Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl and she prefers she and her pronouns.
If that was not one of the most disturbing clips.
Guys, do I bring the movie back up? Do I have to bring the movie back up and watch the whole scene? HBO Now. HBO Max, sorry. I don't know why I keep thinking HBO Now. Or no, because it is HBO Now. But they also call it Max? I don't know. Alright, I'm bringing it up now. Muting my mic.
Does she even understand what transgender is?
Probably not.
But that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll mute it while I scroll through it to find the scene. I'm searching. I'm scrolling. Wait, can I actually just like skip every 5 seconds by doing this? No, you can't. Thank you for having the shittiest player in the world, HBO. Max, now, whatever. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Come on, come on. All right, I'm at the halfway point now. The thing about this movie is they like splice things from the same event like 10 minutes apart from each other, so it's really, really hard to like see the full context of any given scene. There's the scene we watched with Avery before that Blair dishonestly clipped. All right, I'm looking for the church scene now. It's pretty vibrant and recognizable, so I should be able to catch it pretty easy. If I don't see it, I'm just going to give up. Okay, we're like 3/4 of the way through. Okay, this seems to be the kid. Okay, there's the credits. Fuck, I can't find it. Shit. Come on. Come on. I wish these scenes were longer so I'd have a higher likelihood of like seeing it in the little like bar. Okay, so we're back in 2016 now, towards the beginning of the movie. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Hold on, can I fast forward it to make it go faster? I can go back. I can rewind it 15 seconds, but I can't fast forward it 15 seconds. Right now it's the trans boy, the trans dude getting a haircut. Here's a birthday party. Some transphobes. Kid crying about transphobia. Trump getting elected. Kids upset about Trump. Kids playing in the park. The teen that Blair White likes putting on makeup. Kind of looks like Sansa Stark a little bit, ironically. I'm searching. Hackermans, I'm in. Not happy Trump selected. I am skimming so thoroughly, chat. You guys have no idea how thoroughly I'm skimming right now. Is that scene even in the movie at this point? Vosh raid, Pog. Thank you, Vosh. I appreciate the host. I assume it was actually Hyena that did the host, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you. We're currently responding to Blair White and her lying about a documentary, and I'm scrolling through the documentary so I can find the scene that I'm looking for that Blair was referencing. Oh, is this it? I think I found it. I'll let you hear it through my mic.
You do seem like you've had like a 180 change.
Oh, I know. No, I'm glad I changed. I like this a lot more.
Wait, what?
I don't know. It's just like I completely changed my life. I think a lot of it was just I'm being me now without a spouse's influence.
So from the sound of it, in regards to the kid, it seems like the dad was previously part of like their life, and the dad was being like transphobic, and the dad and the mom broke up or split off or something like that, and now the kid feels free to like be trans, but at the same time is like kind of like nervous about it, you know? Oh yeah, here's a scene with the dad. Here, let's see what the dad has to say.
Under his therapist's guidance.
I don't feel like I would do anything differently.
You know, you were saying some things like that to where you wanted to wear dresses, and you used to say that like you identified as like a girl boy and all those types of things, so.
I'm definitely a boy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, this kid's a trans dude.
If that changes down the line, well,
Oh, the dad's accepting now.
we'll call you a girl later if you want. You think you're gonna stay a boy the whole rest of your life? Yeah, that's fine too.
That's heartwarming. This is literally the kid they were referencing. Jesus Christ, Blair, you're such a fucking liar. What a fucking liar, dude.
Eps. So very constant theme of these mothers speaking for the child. Like in the case of Avery and Phoenix, I heard the moms talking about them being trans. And I never heard the kids talking really about being trans. Avery once or twice, but it was in a very nonchalant way. And it just was not, it didn't come across as, I don't know. It was just a mess. So here's the gag with Phoenix.
Oh yeah, sorry. Are we gonna pretend like the scene that I just played for you all didn't happen? You guys heard that scene, right? Are we gonna pretend that that scene never happened? I guess we are. That's what's
A couple years later, after the first filming of them being at the church, coming out as LGBT, pansexual, queer, blah, blah, Phoenix went back to being a boy. Before picture day in the movie, Phoenix said, no, I don't want to go to school as a girl, and I want to be a boy again. And it was very telling that that happened before picture day.
Yep, that's the scene we just watched. See, the parents were completely fine with the kid not being trans, because that's why it's okay for kids to socially transition. It's fine. There's no problem with it. Like I said before, if the kid feels like they need to go, like they aren't actually trans, and they want to go back, they can. And the dad was like, so you feel like you want to go back to being a boy? It's fine. Okay, it's all good. Yeah, you can do that. And that's the scene we just watched. We just listened to it. We literally just did. Hold on, do I still have it up right here? We can show the scene with Phoenix. I don't have it up still. Well, you guys heard it, so you're happy.
Because I remember being a kid. I remember having maybe like a bad hair day, bad haircut, and not wanting to go to school because I didn't want to present myself in that way because it was ultimately embarrassing. Basically, this kid was wearing pink at home but didn't want to do it at school, didn't want to actually live his life that way. Went back to being a boy, and the mom actually did a complete 180 and almost became not anti-trans, but became like skeptical of being trans in general. There was a moment where the mom was like, well, maybe some people are transgender, but not my child. And was very defensive about it, was very certain this child was absolutely a boy now, and the boy was definitive as well. And I really...
What is Blair complaining about? So, the movie is split into two parts. You've got 2016 and you've got like modern day, or around when the movie was like the second half of the documentary was filmed, which was like a while ago. So you've got the scenes where they're younger, back in like 2016, and the scenes when they're a bit older. It's like they see them early on, and then like 4 or 5 years later, they come back to them, right? So she's mad because in the first scene of the kid Phoenix, they're at the church, and they're like, yeah, Phoenix says that they're a girl, so yeah, you know, we're just go by she, her pronouns and stuff like that. And then 4 or 5 years later, the kid realizes, apparently, I guess, that they're not trans. And the mom's like, okay, I guess my kid's not trans. Some kids are trans, mine's not. The dad's like, we heard the scene just now. Like, hey, you're gonna live the rest of your life as a boy. If you decide you want to be a girl again, that's fine as well. Just let us know, you know. And the kid's like, yeah, I think I'm a boy. And they're like, cool. And Blair's mad about this. How is she actually trying to twist this into something to be angry about?
Applauded this movie for keeping that scene in because it was so real. The fact that, you know, you can have a child who likes to play
Okay, never mind. She seems fine with it now, but why would she include this part of the video? It seems like the documentary, like over the course of it, the documentary is like, all right, yeah, some kids that are trans. Here's an example of a kid that thought they were trans and then wasn't trans anymore when they got older. Kid only socially transitioned. There's nothing like to go back on or anything like that. No hormones, nothing like that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all good. What's the problem here? What is Blair complaining about? This stuff is out of sync. Let me try something really quick. Let me see if maybe in my Elgato software, I need to switch it from PS4 to PC. Maybe that'll do it. PS4, PC, okay. All right, let's hope that fixes the problem.
Dress up and might be a girly boy or a tom girl or tomboy, whatever the term for, you know, females is. Like, that is a thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they are transgender. And it's such a...
Nobody disagrees with this. Does she actually get to like any other point in this?
Trajectory. I think allowing them the space and time to grow into who they are naturally is the best possible thing, because you never know.
That's literally what the movie seems to advocate for.
Authentic. They've seemed very independent in their thought and knowing who they are, without almost as if that becomes the parent's identity as well. Like, it's one thing to be supportive of your child. It's another to have their identity become your identity, because...
All right, so you're not allowed to be proud of your kid being trans. Interesting. Okay, that's about what I expected from this video. I actually want to add on, like, tack on a bit of like a point to this, because I know that Blair, when she makes her videos, she basically just sort of tacitly endorses like the abuse or the harassment of these kids. That's what she's doing right now with this video. She's attacked kids being trans much of the time. So Blair excluded this from her video, but there's a scene that we watched a little bit ago for all the Vosh viewers that just showed up from the raid. There's a scene earlier in the movie that she shows very, very dishonestly, right? And the scene that she shows is of the kid, Avery, seeming like she's really upset about being like a public figure and being like publicly trans and whatnot. And the way Blair frames it is as though this kid is like upset about being trans and it's ruining her life. That's how Blair cuts it and frames it. Very, very dishonestly, by the way. So what I did was brought up my good old HBO Max subscription, brought up the documentary, skipped to that part of the movie, and watched it uninterrupted and unclipped. What actually happened was the family and the kid were getting a ton of transphobic harassment, and even from like family members, like the grandparents, and she was very upset about this and was like, these people are ruining my life. These people here, oh, it's Destiny's birthday? Oh, maybe we wish him happy birthday in a minute. These people are ruining my life. It's fucking awful. Yada yada, like, it's terrible. But Blair cuts that out. And I think I know the reason why Blair cut it out. Because what Blair White is doing is contributing to that harassment. She is taking part in the harassment that these trans kids are getting and is causing the problems that they're facing. She's complaining about how they don't like being public figures and how they don't like that. But at the same time, She's part of that. She is feeding into that culture of people that go out of their way to harass these trans kids and their families. If there wasn't any of that, like, harassment and whatnot, then these kids could be openly talking about their identities, and there wouldn't be any kickback, any blowback. If they get older and they decide they're not trans, and they would be able to do it freely and without any public discrimination, and it would be fine. It would be great. There'd be no problem. But Blair contributes to this harassment and contributes to the culture that is causing these kids so much distress. And that's my problem. I have no issue if a kid that thinks they're trans when they're 4 or 5 years old ends up turning 6 or 7, decides they're not trans, and boom, it's all good, right? I mean, they're not going on hormones, no medical procedures whatsoever. There's no problem with that. But Blair feels like these parents are, like, forcing it on their kids. And if it is actually the case, these parents are forcing it on their kids, that's not good. But that's not something that's happening on any overwhelming scale. What is happening is there's a ton of kids who are trans, and their parents are transphobic and pushing them to be cis or to act cis, and that's having harmful effects on them mentally. That's what the real problem is. That is the epidemic that we're seeing in America. People who try to trick you into thinking there is this overwhelming problem of parents that are, like, forcing their kids to be trans are delusional. It's just not the case. This isn't a thing that's happening. The reason why you know it isn't a thing that's happening is because it's so rare that every time a story like this does happen, it gets blown the fuck up by the media. They become celebrities. Same thing with detransitioners. So, yeah. Alrighty. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new, please subscribe. I'm actually trying to hit 60,000 subs by the end of the year. We are just over 2,000 subs away. If you can help me push to 60K by the end of the year, I'd really appreciate it. Through the link in the description as well, you can follow me on Twitter, really like that, or join my Discord community. That would be pretty cool as well. And if you've got any extra money sitting around, you don't need any, for anything else, and you don't know what to do with it, you can always support me by clicking the join button, becoming a member on YouTube, or subbing me on Patreon, or even coming to the website, xanderhall.com/live, and donating or subbing here. It's always appreciated, and it helps the channel out a lot. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and have a good one.